Welcome back to CVM Live. It's now time for our major stories in detail. We begin with a major developing story. Courts were disrupted across the island today as judges convened a meeting at the Supreme Court in downtown Kingston to discuss what is being described as administrative matters. CVM Live's Nicole Wilson was at the Supreme Court and files this report.
The trial of the man accused of killing 6 persons in 2006, Michael McLean, was not the only matter to be adjourned prematurely in the Home Circuit Court on Monday. Matters in courts across the island were adjourned to facilitate a meeting of judges in the new Supreme Court building in downtown Kingston, causing many to speculate what the meeting was about. A press release from the Court Management Services indicates that a number of issues were discussed, including the appointment of Brian Sykes as acting Chief Justice by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Meanwhile, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says he was not aware of action being taken by judges and believed that the meeting was in response to a letter from the President of Parish Judges due to his ministry's failure to respond to salary demands.
As far as I'm concerned, the message has been sent already that the matter will be dealt with in short order. So there's no need for any protest action or any meeting. It will be dealt with soon.
Nicole Wilson, CVM Live.
The Executive Director of the National Integrity Action, NIA, says the government has no right to interfere or determine what action is to be taken for a Chief Justice to move from acting to confirmed. CVM Live's Khadija Thomas has more in this report.
The Executive Director, Professor Trevor Monroe, made the statement recently while speaking at the Mona Law signature event panel discussion We Want Justice as part of the UWI Research Days activities. He says there is widespread confidence and belief in the commitment of the country's judiciary, so steps must be taken to prevent a distrust in the system.
And I would certainly ask that you support those of us who are saying to the Prime Minister, do nothing to undermine the confidence that the judiciary and the Chief of the Judiciary will at all times conduct himself or herself with integrity and without regard to any test or actions required by another branch of the government, a branch of the state, the executive.
Citing the Global Competitiveness Report on Judicial Independence, he said Jamaica has always ranked on the top quartile, but the country's judicial system has several issues. He says integrity must be an assessment of our people.
So I say this strength continues, but we must not be complacent. We must ensure that we speak out against any action from whatever quarter which threatens that integrity and that commitment of the judiciary. That integrity and commitment not only is...
Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
Taxi operators in Ocho Rios are fed up with the treatment being meted out to them by the police. They say that their taxis are being put on records with regularity. Meanwhile, law enforcement says that order must be maintained. CVM Live's Joel Croskill reports.
Taxi operators in Ocho Rios, St. Anne have withdrawn service in protest of what they say are illegitimate tactics by members of the security forces.
Well, unfortunately, no, we are from the Mileage Taxi Association. We operate from the exchange, the Ocho Rios route. And we really have some concern in regard to the police brutality, as we would have put it, that is happening in the town. It's unfortunate that we notice when the police officers pull us over, if we are picking up a passenger downtown, they seize our car. And we are saying it is not right for a red plate taxi to be seized, and we have the relevant documents. They were supposed to be issuing a ticket, and that was authorized by the minister way back, that no red plate was supposed to be seen on a record unless it's contrary.
Deputy Superintendent in charge of operations in St. Anne, Beresford Williams, says that the lawlessness being displayed by taxi operators must come to an end.
We have been trying to get taxi operators for a while, through dialogue and other means, to comply with the rules, basically with the terms of their road license. They have not committed themselves to doing that. They continue to block the roads in the major thoroughfare, drop off and pick up passengers wherever they like, causing much traffic congestion in the town. We have decided that that has to end.
Taxi operators are accusing the police of working with the wreckers. Some complain that their vehicles have been taken up to 3 times in a week. Despite their protestations, Beresford Williams says that the actions of the St. Ann police in this regard will be maintained until the taxi operators are brought in line.
So this drive will continue today, tomorrow, every day. No matter how much protest that the taxi operator will undertake, they must comply with the terms of their road license.
Joel Crosskill, CVM Live.
Jamaican businesses are set to benefit from multi-million US dollar investments, according to Managing Director of the Development Bank of Jamaica, Milverton Reynolds. CVM Live's Nicoy Wilson has this report.
$233 million is available for investment into Jamaican businesses. That's the word from Managing Director of the Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, Milverton Reynolds, who made this revelation while speaking at the press launch of this year's business model competition. He indicated that a substantial amount of money was pumped into small and medium enterprises.
Loans disbursed to small and medium-sized enterprises, the SME sector, through our network of approved financial institutions, some $4.8 billion. Loans disbursed to micro-entrepreneurs through the DBJ-approved microfinance institutions, some $1.2 billion, a total of $6 billion that we have disbursed to the MSME sector.
The DBJ also provided business support services and capacity development through their voucher program to hundreds of entrepreneurs.
And so between April to the end of January, we have issued some 1,120 vouchers for a value of some $263.25 million. Additionally, through our very innovative Ignite program, we have supported 26 innovative startups who have been able to access over $60 million in grant funding, resulting in the creation of hundreds of new jobs.
Nicoy Wilson, CVM Live.
Deputy Financial Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and Public Service in charge of Strategic Human Resource Management, Wayne Jones, says the Special Early Retirement Program, SERP, introduced by the government in January, will feature a number of new clauses.
Is explained and characterized by a number of elements that would not be in your normal early retirement activities. One is that we have included an incentive. So the incentive is 2 weeks pay for each year of employment up to a maximum of 1 year's salary. 2 weeks pay for each year of employment up to a maximum of 1 year's salary. And important also to note that the eligibility requires you to have been vested. And vesting for us in this arrangement is 10-year service with at least 1 permanent appointment in a pensionable post. So it's age plus you being vested. And then you get an incentive of the 2 weeks pay I spoke about.
Stressing the fact that the program is targeting a specific age cohort of public sector workers in ministries, departments and agencies between 50 and 59, he said there's much to be had once an application is approved.
Also going to be afforded pay in lieu of vacation leave accrued up to the point of the retirement date. That retirement date is going to be set by the commission once we know, our application numbers and so on. But we have ideas as to what that will be. So normally you would have proceeded on pre-retirement leave. Even with early retirement, you normally proceed on pre-retirement leave. And pre-retirement leave, for the most part, is your vacation leave at that time converted into pre-retirement leave. We just retitle it now. It's now pre-retirement leave. Instead of you proceeding on the pre-retirement leave under this program, we'll pay you for the vacation leave.
It's now time for regional and international news with our reporter, Nicole Wilson.
Thanks, Richard. And news in Barbados. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Maxine McLean, was robbed on Saturday morning by a gunman as she used an automatic teller machine in the St. Michael parish. McLean was also struck in the face during the brazen daylight attack, but did not suffer serious injuries and is reported to be fine, although the robber got away with her handbag. This robbery comes on the heels of a heightened awareness by the Barbados police force as they try to crack down on gang violence and other domestic-related incidents that have been reported to be crimes of passion and circumstance. And in Trinidad and Tobago, 2 earthquakes rattled the Twin Island Republic on Sunday night as the region continues to be jolted by a series of earthquakes in recent months. The University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center says the first quake, which measured 4.6, occurred at 7:35 a.m., while the second quake occurred less than 3 hours later with a magnitude of 4.4. There have been no reports of injuries or damage to property. Last month, Trinidad and Tobago was rattled by 2 earthquakes within a 1-week period. On the international scene, Deputy CEO of the UK-based charity Oxfam has quit over allegations that aid workers paid for sex while on assignments in Haiti and Chad. Here's more from Al Jazeera.
As more questions are asked about sexual exploitation by Oxfam staff in Haiti, the international charity is fighting to save its reputation. Ahead of a meeting with Oxfam bosses in London, Britain's International Development Secretary warned they must be transparent about what happened in 2011 or risk losing government funding worth $43 million last year.
If the moral leadership at the top of the organisation isn't there, then we cannot have you as a partner. I would also just note that there are enormous numbers of people who are doing good work, and they're good people working for Oxfam, and they have been betrayed in this as well.
The charity's been hit by reports its country director for Haiti, Roland van Houwermeiren, was alleged to have invited prostitutes to a villa rented for him by Oxfam following the 2010 earthquake. The organisation says it did investigate at the time and fired 4 people, while allowing 3 others, including Mr. van Houwermeiren, to resign.
What those few privileged men in Haiti did was to betray the trust of our supporters, our donors, and to betray the thousands of hard-working Oxfam staff who put themselves out, risked their lives to do this work of saving people's lives, children's lives.
That's it for regional and international news. I am Nicole Wilson. Back to you, Richard.
Thanks, Nicole. Those were our major stories for this evening, but News Live in 5 will come your way later on in the program. Straight ahead, though, is our panel discussion. Critical moment within the justice system. Judges in high-level meeting and continued talks about the appointment of the Chief Justice. That's our panel discussion up next with Valeronita Robertson QC, Attorney Michael William, and Civil Litigation and Industrial Relations lawyer Conrad George. Stay with us. Panel discussions coming up right after this break.